Good evening, everyone. If you are watching after the fact, then please do feel free to skip ahead to qualifying as we get the rest of the drivers into the lobby and I get the rest of the stream all set up and ready to go. We will be with you very, very shortly. Good evening, folks. Hi, Ghost. Hope you're better soon, pal. Yeah, get some rest and hopefully you'll be back behind the wheel and or in the box ASAP. Let me mute my stream so I can't hear myself back. Hello, Lifebout. Hope you're for a win tonight, are we? Well, I'm liking the confidence. I'm sure with your form at the moment you will be able to put the challenge at the front of the grid. I'm certain of it. I'm not sure how many more drivers we're waiting for, if any. Just a few moments left to go in a session. It's good. It gives me time to share the stream around a little bit. I'll pop it in there as well. Because, yes. What else have we got going on here? Need to be in this one. Have that open. Did anyone see the Red Bull launch today? Not the most interesting thing. It kind of got more and more boring as it went on. I just wanted to see the car by the end, um, and I don't know why I got so excited. It looks not too much different from last year's car. I hope some of the other front teams change it up a little bit. Yeah, exactly, Ghost. Excited about Ford though. I think there was something that we knew was coming. I think they saw what Audi are up to and decided to get in. But it's a shame that it's only a sort of strategical partnership rather than a bigger stake. I'd love to see another team on the grid, but it's just so expensive to buy into Formula One with a competitive team immediately. And I don't know if you still have to compete for like 3 years to get any prize money or such, but yeah, it seems like it seems to me that F1 has become quite exclusive or something, or at least in my opinion. Now, and it's a shame that we can't get, maybe one or two more teams on the grid, but maybe one day. You never know. You never know what will happen. It would be nice though. Let me check the Discord just to see what's going on. If we're waiting for anybody. Alright, looks like we are going. I'll finish my cup of tea. And get my script up. And then we'll be ready to go. Make sure I remember to record separately. I'll have to remember that. But this is the first of two streams tonight. I'll be over on ESRL almost immediately after this, but we'll start with APPF1. I will get the camera rolling. So good evening everyone, and welcome back to the commentary box of tonight's dose of racing action. I'm Sumo, your commentator for this evening, and I'm very glad to be bringing you the Tier 1 action once again. We make our way east to the land of the rising sun for a race around one of the best circuits on the Formula 1 calendar. The Suzuka International Racing Course is a 4.807 kilometre circuit with 18 corners and is the only figure of 8 track on the Formula 1 calendar. It's fast, it's technical, and it's a joy to drive, even on controller, if you can manage to get it right at every single turn. We've got some great drivers, so I'm sure that they will all have an incredible race out there. We take a look at the championship now, and I'll quickly get the standings up. I did have them, but just so I can see them for myself. And Banter Brandon heads to Japan with a 9-point lead over Lifebout, who was last week's race winner out in Saudi Arabia. The battle for the midfield heats up. Ghost isn't here this week, so Rick can stretch his legs a little bit if he can manage to see off some of the rivals like Paulie Orange and MX and Eat My Dust, who aren't too far behind him. Only about 12 points behind the Dutch driver, so in the midfield there's some battles going on. Keep an eye on Paulie Orange. That man is very quick and could be in with a shout of a win this evening. The battle for the best of the rest was that, and then the battle at the front, of course, is between Lifebout and Banter Brandon. We head to the Constructors' Championship now. There's a 24-3-point lead for the Haas team, sat on 93 points. MX and Lifebout doing a really good job. No MX it seems tonight, so only one Haas car on the field. Ferrari sit on 70 points in P2 with McLaren and Red Bull not too far behind, only 4 points behind the Scarlet team, and they will surely be heating up that midfield battle with some great points here on offer. So a lead could come down tonight with only one Haas on the grid. I will close now my notes app and I will open up everything else because it's time for qualifying. Let's see who have we got out on circuit. Let's follow JD then. It's his first season here in APPF1 in Aston Martin. They're sat in P8 at the moment in the Constructors' Championship, and JD is currently sat down in P13. But I'm sure he can get himself a decent result tonight if he can keep out of trouble and keep it on the track. This is a tough circuit to master, and Paulie Orange is here finally, so we're up to 12 drivers. Not the best grid this evening. I was hoping for a few more drivers around Suzuka, but Ghost at least is ill, and there's a few drivers who perhaps are busy this evening, and it's not the end of the world. We still race on as we do, and we're going to follow JD through. We're going to do the obligatory track guide at a moment. We'll come down to here. I found out the name of this corner actually, this chicane. Apparently it's called Casio Triangle, so however you want to pronounce it. And this is the last curve, but anyway, across the line comes JD to start his first lap. We come to the first corner on this circuit, a very long right-hander. Really got to be brave and chuck it in, try not to run out wide or spin or get too early on the power. Nice and tidy there for JD as he comes now through the S section. This section of track you've got to get right every single corner. You can ride the curbs a little bit more, but JD takes it a bit too far and sees himself spinning, so we ride on board now with the South African speed alcoholic. He's on the medium tyre An interesting choice for this qualifying session, perhaps just getting a banker time out. Not the best way through there, but up the hill now. We go left through Dunlop, long corner again. Got to be careful not to run out wide. And then we come now, very high speed, couple of right-handers. This is the Degner 1, and then straight into Degner 2, slowing down a little bit more as that on-camber corner. Then we go under the bridge, down towards the spoon curve, very heavy braking zone, all the way down into second gear, and then going up to get that grip and finding the best exit through, using the short shifting technique on the gear system. As we then come through, this is 200R, this part of the track, down towards spoon curve now. Two left-handers, very fast indeed. You've got to try and carry as much speed as possible as we go down onto the back straight now, heading in toward the infamous 130R where we saw Fernando Alonso back in 2006 or 2005 make an incredible move around. Maybe I'm wrong, somebody correct me in the chat if I am, but we come down now to Casio Triangle, or the bus stop if you want to call it that, as its more memorable name. The last couple of corners, and then up the gears once more to cross the line. Benchmark time being set by Speed Alcoholic is a 1 minute 30.2. We've got the Alfa Romeo of Darth Nihilius making his way through next, through the final corner. Is the Alfa Romeo, not the quickest of times. It's a 30.9, no, some time to improve for sure for the Alfa Romeo. Rick's a little bit further back. It's Jack Alacco, the Scotsman, my sprint teammate for a few seasons as well, in that papaya orange car, making his way across the line. It's a 30.5 for Jack Alacco in the McLaren. Our P2 sitter at the moment in the championship, the man that we're keeping an eye on this evening, Lifebout, he's coming across the line. It's a 28.8, a very quick time indeed, but remember, speed's on the medium tyre, so he's going to be going a little bit slower. Rick makes a mistake, it seems, on his lap, so his is only a 45. Who have we got coming across next? It's E.T. Chris making his way through that final chicane and in toward the last corner. Now this looks like a quick time from the Ferrari. It is. It's a 29.9. That puts him up into P2 at the moment. So speed's time not incredibly fast, but he is on those medium compound tyres. Anybody else out on track on a lap? I think Eat My Dust is making his way through Dunlop now. Yes, he is, and up towards the Degners, car number 75, that navy and white Alpha Tauri. I think he's on a slow lap actually. No, that's a shame, Fando. It would have been great to have you on the grid as well. RJ's here too, so we've got another driver. That's 13 now. On the grid. What's speed up to? Is he on a lap? No, he's definitely not. He's slowing down. Interesting, a couple of drivers on the mediums though. I wonder what the thinking is behind that. Maybe it is just banker times for them at the moment. Ghost can hear Rick saying, "Get a lifebout." Yes, I think I can hear that too. Now that you say it, maybe if I ride on board, we'll be able to hear it nice and clearly. Just waiting for somebody to come out on track. Still, half the drivers are still in the pits at the moment. LB's making his way out. The reserve for tonight is on his outlap. He's coming through sector 1 now at the time being. There's only one like. There's 4 people watching the stream so far. Let's get those numbers up, people. These are rookie numbers. Get liking the stream, please. It really does help out, and I really do appreciate all the support. Eat My Dust at 39.3. I think this will be his lap now as he starts to go, maybe. I don't know, he's not got any ERS on. He doesn't seem to be using any. That doesn't look like a fast time to me. Just a banker time maybe for Eat My Dust. I'm not sure what this medium strategy is here in qualifying, but it seems very interesting. So we'll follow along with the reserve driver LB, fresh off the win in Tier 2. Where were we in Tier 2? Saudi Arabia, a race that saw him lead the majority of the race with no trouble at all, and then a couple of safety cars brought the field back in, and he saw off Mr. J-Man, and his seeming bad luck in Tier 2 managed to keep the car on the track and finish the race. Hopefully he can do the same here tonight. I'm sure we wouldn't be averse. I can send you an invite. I don't know if I've got you though. If Rick is in the chat, or if one of the drivers is in the chat right now, if you could send Fido Man an invite, I'm sure it's not going to be a problem. Just make sure you sign up next time, dude, because it just helps us with recognising the numbers. But here comes LB. He's going to start his lap. right about now. Making his way through, so it'll be the next half of the grid to go. Eat My Dust is on a slow lap, it seems, so LB is the next one to set one, so we'll follow along with the Williams as he makes his way through the S's. I don't know if I have Fido, man, otherwise I would invite him. I don't really want to blue screen everybody during qualifying. Perfect, set to 1. Let me see if I can quickly, if I've got Fido, man. I don't think I do. No, and I've got crossplay enabled as well, apparently. Yeah, I think someone else is going to have to do that for me. I don't think you do it in the game anymore. At least the spectator can't. But anyway, LB making his way down towards Spoon Curve at the moment. Looked fairly clean. The Red Bull got out of the way, so it didn't impede. There's a yellow flag. There's a strange yellow flag. There's JD off the track at turn 1 there. Bringing out a yellow flag that's covering the majority of the circuit. I think that's a bit unnecessary. Yellow flag's not actually covering the bit of the circuit where the crash has happened. It is now, though. Codemaster's doing strange things again. But LB making his way through that final chicane now. Looks like a tidy lap. I think he's actually got a... that helmet design looks new and it looks quite interesting. But LB, 1:31.0. Not the best lap from LB, but he's definitely got some more time in him, that is for sure. How about Eat My Dust? He's 2 seconds up, so this could be a lap for him. It is going to be a lap for him. It's a 1:31.3. Not going to see him improve at all. He sits at the bottom of the standings at the moment. The Alpine of Findlay Liverpool has invalidated and makes his way back into the pits. I think a newbie to Tier 1, so we'll keep an eye on the Alpine as he makes his debut here. JD, I think he had a moment at turn 1. I don't think this is going to be an incredibly fast lap from him. No. Paulie Orange is out on the track as well. So is his teammate, Daphne Hilliers. He's actually the next across the line. He's 6 tenths up at the minute, so this could see him move up toward the top 3. Perhaps it's P4 for Daphne Hilliers in the Alfa Romeo. How about his teammate Paulie Orange? This man is incredibly quick at times. It's a 29.6, so he's still got some work ahead. And actually, Lifebout has creeped up into P1. I didn't even see that happen, or had that already happen maybe. I think I did catch that actually, never mind. I've just been so focused on other things that I forgot that Lifebout had set a time. So a big chunk of time to find for some of the drivers out there to get into Lifebout's zone. There's about 8 tenths to find for Paulie Orange, and Lifebout will only try and go faster. But his debut was last week, but he crashed out. Hopefully he can get some points. Thank you, Ghost. If he's not in the commentary box, he's helping me in the chat. Ever the stats man is Ghost, and it's very much appreciated, because I do tend to get some things wrong every now and again. But good luck, Finley. Hopefully you can get some points on the board and stay in the race this time around. We're watching ET8. I think that's the only driver on a lap right now. I think Lifebout might be on a lap 2. He's a little bit further ahead. He's not improving through sector 2. He's 600ths down. Might have some medium. Maybe he's not going for it. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with these mediums. Speeds come out on softs now, actually. So we'll keep an eye on him, because he also was on the medium tyre. Strange call in qualifying, in all honesty, especially since your tyre doesn't matter. Lifebout's making his way in, so I think it was ET8 making his way across the line. He's 5 tenths up at the moment. Could it see him into the top 2? It does. It's a 1:29.1, so edging that a little bit closer. Speed as well was actually improved. Without me realising, it's a 29.3 for the South African. So they're edging ever closer to Lifebout's time, but he's still comfortably ahead by 3 tenths of a second. Is the Dutch driver in that Haas car. Let's move our way around. Here's our championship leader, Brandon. He's in the pits still. Probably could have come out at the end. Yeah, a great lap from Speed. I think he can definitely go a bit faster, and he's got the time to do so. It's not the longest of tracks around here, so we'll see. Let's watch then Finley Liverpool making his way through the S's now. Looks fairly tidy for the Alpine so far. I must say I do like the engine sound from the Renault. It may not be the best engine on the Formula 1 grid at the moment, but the sound is just so aggressive and I really like it. Really sounds a lot like the Formula 2 cars actually, which I've always been fond of. So yes, that's why Alpine is my favourite car. And the livery's pretty cool as well. I mean, I like the blue and the pink. It's not probably not everyone's favourite, but yes. And you know, if you know anything about my racing career in APPF1, I was a stark Renault driver for a long time. I thought I'd probably do a 28.8, then spin at Dunlop and come second again. My exact words yesterday. Wow. We'll wait and see. Oh, it looked a little bit shaky for Finley as he made his way through the second part of the spoon curve and is on the run along the back straight to 130R. This fast left-hander absolutely flat out, really riding the curb as the Alpine, then heavy braking down into this chicane through these last couple of corners and into the final one. It's a short run to the line after you leave that chicane there. Let's see where Finley can put himself. It's P5, it's a 28.9.8. Not a bad time from the Alpine. There's probably some more time to find out on the circuit. Eat My Dust now has finally decided to put the soft tyres on. So he was abandoned this strange medium strategy that he seemed to be on. But we watch LB now. He's on a slow lap actually, so we'll wait and see what he can do. I think he's just starting his lap there. Darth Nihilius, is he out on circuit now? He is on an out lap thus far. In the pits at the time being. I'm sure these few drivers will be making their way out soon. I've seen either of the McLarens. They're sitting down in P7 and 8 at the minute. Not that they would want to be on the fourth row of the grid, but they can surely make up some time as they go along. Let's watch Eat My Dust then as he makes his way around. He's on a lap, and LB has just started his. Through the hairpin goes the AlphaTauri. That looked fairly clean and tidy through there. Very important to get the exit just right through that corner, and hopefully the traffic of the Alpine ahead won't get in the way of Eat My Dust as he makes his way through spoon curve now. He's coming to meet that traffic just at the right point, really using all of the track available to him and a little bit of slipstream as well from the Alpine ahead of him as it comes down to 130R. He's on his fellow countryman, Speed Alcoholic. Yes, Speed's never one to be counted out of a race, although he has had a bit of a run of making mistakes of late. Here comes the AlphaTauri of Eat My Dust. It's at 30.3, so it sees him ahead of the two McLarens, but it's not going to see him into that top 5 where he would most likely want to be. Banter Brandon finally makes his way out onto the track. That was almost perfect timing for switching to Banter Brandon. I was switching over to see what he was up to. And you've got RJ making his way out as well in the Mercedes. So a few drivers opting for a late qualifying one. JD, hopefully he can set a decent lap in the time that's left. But here's LB crossing the line. That's a slightly better lap from him. It's a 30.3. He'll go now ahead of the two McLarens who will want to improve on their times. And I'm sure they will. Rick's leaving the pits just now, so it is time for the final runs in qualifying. We've got about a minute and 40 seconds left. The yellow flag was covering it on my screen, so I couldn't quite see. Let's see, anybody out on a lap right now? Is Daphne Hillis on a lap? No, he's not. It's an out lap for him. Jack Alacco, the Scotsman. I think he'll be the first to set a lap, if I'm not mistaken. Unless Paulie's on a lap already. No, he's not. Let's see, and then everyone else has just left the pits. So yeah, we'll follow along then with the McLaren of Jack Alacco as he makes his way around to start his final run of this session, hoping that it's going to be a good one as he hurtles down towards turn 1. It's got LB making it round as well. Will LB make it in time? I'm not sure if that Williams will make it round in time for a lap. He'll have to really push those tyres if he wants to get round on a lap. Or was that the Alpine? It was the Alpine of Finley actually, so he's going to have to hope and pray. It was LB who set a lap a minute ago, and actually is he on a lap right now? No, he's on a slow lap, so let's go back with Jack Alacco. Hard to follow the action sometimes, but it's worth it. It's a purple sector 1 for Jack Alacco. He's a 10th up already. Not sure how much it's going to help him. I'm not sure how accurate these times are. I'm going to be astray on the side of caution when it comes to accuracy in Codemasters games. But anyway, Jakalaka making his way through. That looked pretty tidy through the hairpin. Now through 200R, down towards the spoon curve. I love this run of track. This circuit is just incredible. There's just so many bits that are amazing. It flows so well, and even when I am on, if I am on controller, I still manage to enjoy and get the most out of this circuit when I can. Anyway, Jakalaka making his way through now. He'll be hoping to get into the top 5, maybe even unsettle the top 3. He's 2 tenths up as we go, so this could see him into the high 1 minute 30s as he's currently sat in the mid 1 minute 30s. Just behind him is Paulie Orange. Jakalaka will watch cross the line. At the moment, it's going to be it's a 30.0 on the dot. Here comes Paulie though. It's a 4/10 improvement for him. It sees him into P3, and that's all let's wrote for the Alfa Romeo. How about Daphne Hillis now, his teammate? No, he's way down on his previous best. That's not going to be an improvement for him. I think for qualifying's over for the Alpine. So it's the Ferrari of Banter Brandon. Oh no! Championship leader stopped there. I think he's had an issue with the traffic ahead of him, so that's his qualifying over. Lifebout doesn't manage to improve on his time. How about RJ Blair? He's making his way through the final corner now. A bit of drama for our championship leader at the moment. He'll be starting toward the back. RJ Blair with a 1 minute 30.3, sees him with a time on the board. And who else is crossing the line? Next is Speed Alcoholic. The South African, he's had a snap of oversteer at the final corner. That's not going to help him either. How about Rick? It's 1.2. Up it goes on to P2. Onto the front row of the grid goes to McLaren. A great lap to be pulled out of the bag at the dying moments of qualifying. And I think that is it for this qualifying session. It is a Dutch front row lockout. It's Haas and McLaren on the front row. ET8 gets disqualified from the session. I think he retires actually in the pit lane. But wow, Rick really put in a great lap to see himself onto that front row in the final moments. Yeah, it was outrageous from Rick, yeah. Lifebout skill issue. He's suffering from success at the top there at the moment. Nobody able to challenge him. Some drivers may have got close. But yes, that was a great one in qualifying. And a great lap from Rick, a great lap from Lifebout, and a great lap from many of the other drivers. A shame for Banter Brandon. I think he might have had some issues with an AI car as he was finishing off his lap and was stopped at the chicane. So he'll be starting way down the back of the grid with JD. Only other driver not to set a time. But anyway, Lifebout then is your man on pole position with a 28.8. And Rick joins him on the front row. A Dutch lockout here in Suzuka. ET8, Chris and Paulie Orange make up the second row with Speed Alcoholic and Finley on row number 3. Jakalaka and Daphne Hillius on P7 and 8 with RJ and LB rounding off the top 10. Eat My Dust is in P11 with Banter Brandon and JD making up the rest of the grid after not setting lap times. There we go, and that's stopped. That's just stopping the recording for the for qualifying. Making sure that I do that this time, so it can all be properly uploaded. Probably got an error code. I'll wait for the timer to come up, but we've got 11 people watching thus far. 3 likes on the stream. If you haven't liked the stream already, please feel free to do so, as it really does help me out and shows me some support. And if you're not subscribed either, make sure to subscribe to the channel. All the support is much appreciated. And head over to the APPF1 Racing League channel, where the recorded races will be posted over there for a bit more convenience. But let's start recording, actually. Not a problem, Rick. Always happy to stream, especially if I'm free on a Friday night. Yeah, I'd be happy with that too, mate. A P2, not a bad lap actually. It's a shame you couldn't find that couple of extra tenths and put yourself on P1, but the front row start is nothing to scoff at. We are underway then for the formation lap, and we're going to get our information up, and we're going to have our first insights into what the drivers are going to be doing. It looks like a fairly even split with a slightly heavier end going to the hard tyre. Lifebout starting on the hards with Rick on the mediums, so Rick going for the aggressive start as he plans to start this 27th lap race. And the 4 drivers behind Rick all opting for the hard tyre, with then the 4 drivers behind the Alpine of Findlay Liverpool opting for the mediums. So an aggressive strategy for both McLarens, as well as Daphne Hillis, RJ and LB in the Williams. And then the rest of the grid are on the hard tyre. So a split of strategies then. Some drivers opting to go longer in that first stint and have a bit more to play with in the second round. But it looks like a 1-stop, possibly a 2-stop, but nobody has started on those soft tyres. But a safety car could always creep in the last few moments of a race, or any time really in a race. And Banter Brandon, the man in the Ferrari, he's going to have some work to do. He's going to have to find his way through the field. It's not impossible to overtake at this track, but it's certainly a challenge to do so. And I'm hoping to see some great racing from the Scarlet Ferrari, who currently sits 9 points ahead as the championship leader. Lifebound making his way around. He's hoping for a win tonight, and I'm sure he will want to go for that, and maybe a Grand Slam as well for the Dutch driver. But will his fellow countryman put a spanner in the works for the Haas driver? And remember, Haas are currently leading the Constructors' Championship, and with only one Haas, this is the other Constructors' chance to close down that gap a little bit and make the Constructors' Championship that little bit closer. Somebody's hit the bollards as we've gone around, as the bollards make their way across the circuit. I'm not sure they're supposed to do that, guys. They're not there to be hit. But anyway, we line up on the grid for a race here on Friday night. It's APPF1 Tier 1, and we're about to go racing. Little sip of water before we start. It's always hectic lap 1. Experienced commentator now, never start a race without some water. We'll have the position changes up and ready to go. Hopefully it stays like this. It is going to stay like this. Hopefully no errors either for the start. We got 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix here in Tier 1, and it's lights out and away we go. A great start from the Ferrari of ET8 Chris. A poor start from Rick. Lifebound has got away fairly cleanly. He's going to be able to run into turn 1 unchallenged. Rick stays ahead at the moment, keeping that Ferrari at base speed. Alcoholics up 1 place as well. He challenges poorly Orange. Findlay down the order. There's a big fight in the midfield as Findlay makes his way through. No contact made. I think LB has somehow left the session at the moment, but there's drifting through the S's is the Alpine of Findlay, but he manages to stay among the pack but drops way down the order. Banter Brandon up 4 places already. ET Chris is a timing error on there at the moment, but Rick, poor start from him. He's going to have some work to do. He would have wanted to challenge in towards turn 1 if he could. Jackalacco, meanwhile, he's making his way past JD, who's had an incident at the exit of Degner number 2, so he's going to drop way to the back of the field at the moment. That's a shame for the Aston Martin. He was hoping for a better race, I'm assuming. Jackalacco on the attack again. I think our timing has had a bit of a glitch, so we're going to have to wait for that to fix itself. But Banter Brandon making a good start. He's up 4 places already. It's the Ferrari, and a clean start from all of our drivers. No major incidents other than Findlay and JD having some spins of their own. Yeah, what a start for Lifebound indeed. He really made advantage and really didn't fold under the pressure of Rick on those softer tyres. RJ a good start as well. He's up a few places in that Mercedes, and he'll be looking to progress as far as he can. I think timing errors are sorting themselves out now. Paulie Orange all over the back of Speed. Alcoholic, this will be a fight for the ages. Paulie Orange and Speed, 2 incredibly fast and talented drivers on the grid. ET8 Chris at them as well. He's doing well. He'll want to try and stay with the McLarens lest he falls into the clutches of that Red Bull behind him. Some damage, it seems, for the Alpine and the Aston Martin. They're making their way into the pits, but I think yeah, these timing errors are still a little bit off. We're going to have to wait for the actual gaps to sort themselves out, but no DRS just yet. JD's retired in the pit lane. That's a shame. Not a fan of Suzuka perhaps as we move along. So far Rick keeping Lifebound honest. He'll want to try and pounce if he can. He'll want to get ahead of that Haas if he wants any chance of winning this race this evening. And Rick is capable of winning races. I've seen it before as we've gone along. But Banter Brandon, championship leader, on the hard tyre, but he's putting the pressure on RJ as they come through Spoon Curve now. And Banter Brandon will want to make quick work of this Mercedes if he's to get himself up further in the grid. RJ using all the track available there and trying to fend off this Ferrari for the time being. Brandon happy to sit behind and wait for the DRS to come into effect. And it looks like he's going to get an amazing exit off of this corner here. We're right on board with the Ferrari. He's going to tuck it to the slipstream, but much faster is the Mercedes at the moment in a straight line, and away he pulls. I think our timing errors have been fixed now. So all the drivers still fairly close together, although ET8 Chris has sort of been a roadblock for speed and Paulie Orange as Lifebout and Rick have managed to pull away. Yeah, sorry guys, I forgot about the tyres. Yeah, Finley, poor shame for Finley. He's going to be way down the order, but he's still in the race at the moment, so that's good. Fastest 6-1 from Rick. So he's really using those tyres to great effect at the minute. Banter Brandon, meanwhile, continuing his campaign to get past the Mercedes of RJ Blair. Car number 23 doing a decent job at the minute, really benefiting from some turn 1 instance. Jack Alacco a few places down. A shame for the Scotsman. Yes, it does indeed. He's really pushing at the minute, I think, is Rick. He wants that win, I think. And Speed Alcoholic, meanwhile, gets a great run through Spoon Curve. They're going to run side by side on the Ferrari and the Red Bull towards the Red Bull. Just that little bit lack of pace as they come down here. He might make a move in towards the chicane. At the moment, E.T. Chris going to go defensive as he takes the race in line, and he locks up and gets a wheel on the grass, I think, and has to take to the escape road. That's going to let a number of cars, he's going to plummet like a stone. Alfa Romeo, meanwhile, P4 and 5, a great team effort from these two. They're going to go on the attack on this Red Bull now. They're going to likely want to try and work together, but poor stuff from, who was it? It was, I've forgotten who it was. I think it's E.T. Chris. He's out, actually. He's retired in the pits. That is a shame for E.T. Chris. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe an error on his wheel, perhaps. I'm not exactly sure what happened. It looked like he dipped the wheel on the grass and just went straight on. Yeah, LB AI is in 9th now, actually, LB. So doing better than you might have been doing, actually. Meanwhile, Speed Alcoholic, then he's got a big gap to try and close up. Rick not closing too much on Lifebound, but he is staying with him. There's 4.3 seconds that Red Bull's got to make up to the cars ahead of him. And he's got the 2 Alfa Romeos for company. And Banter Brandon as well, who has managed to get his way past RJ. He missed that, unfortunately, but I'm sure there'll be plenty more action from this man. Raged, yeah, possibly. I mean, there's no point raging when you get a penalty. You just kind of got to get on with it. You never know what will happen at the end of a race. But Paulie Orange looking very fast. He's going to be putting that Red Bull under pressure. No DRS now for the Red Bull. Look at that closing speed on the Alfa Romeo. Speed's going to go defensive. Parks that Red Bull in the middle of the track. Round the outside. Tries Paulie Orange. He goes for the switchback. Oh, a bit of contact there as the space closed up a bit too suddenly for the Alfa Romeo. That's going to invite his teammate around the outside. Is there wing damage on that Alfa Romeo? But there goes Banter Brandon as well. Side by side through the S's. And it's a clean pass for the Ferrari. But Paulie Orange really offset by that. We could see that in the stewards perhaps. But I think that would just go down as a racing incident for the time being, but Speed Alcoholic fends off the challenge at the moment. Paulie Orange doesn't look like he's got damage. It doesn't display at the little spanner and screwdriver as red or orange or anything, but you never know. You can never really tell. As RJ Blair's going to go side by side round the outside through the hairpin goes the Mercedes. The better run goes to that Alfa Romeo. Jack Alacco I want to get involved as well. I think they're still going side by side. A poor exit from the Alfa Romeo. So racing down towards Spoon Curve, but just ahead ekes that Alfa Romeo and keeps that Mercedes at bay for the time being. Yeah, they are very lucky to both be in Ghost. That looked like some fairly heavy contact. Well, contact enough to at least spin one of them out and give the other a crash, but yes. And quite the battle in the midfield going. Here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars all fighting away for P3 at the minute. Paulie Orange, he must have damage on that Alfa Romeo. There's got to be an issue on that car because he is struggling to keep up at the moment, or at least keeping that 1 second gap. He had DRS for the top moment, but we're right on board. See if he's looking a little sluggish through these S's. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it's the hard tyres, but he seems a bit sluggish compared to some of the others. RJ, in the meantime, having a big moment there, and that's going to invite Jack around the outside of Dunlop. That's a brave move from the McLaren to make, but he's managed to pull it off, and Jack upper place. I'm glad I caught that on stream. I'm sure Jack will want to see that one back, but a good move from the McLaren. Mercedes is low on ERS. He is, yeah. RJ not saving his ERS to the best of his ability there, and not making the most of those medium tyres, it seems either. He's dropping down the order, but yeah, Paulie's got to have damage. He must be struggling because of those hard tyres, or just with a little bit of wing damage. It's a shame for the Alfa Romeo because him and his teammate were looking very good. And speaking of his teammate, he's 6/10 closer to Speed Alcoholic, and he could mount a challenge, but no ERS on that Alfa Romeo at all. Yeah, Paulie will be gutted, but a safety car could come out and maybe change things. But Daphne Hilius, you might want to start thinking about saving some of that ERS. You've got Banter Brandon behind you, and he's going to want to try and dispatch of you very, very quickly. In the meantime, Rick has dropped way back. He's decided to stop pushing so hard, although he's made Lifebout push a little bit harder on these hard tyres, so maybe what he's trying to do at the minute, but he's keeping him somewhat honest. He's staying within 2 seconds of the Haas in front, but it's all quiet in the front of the grid. But meanwhile, the battle rages on for P3 in this race. Still not saving ERS is the Alfa Romeo. It won't be long before Banter Brandon decides to make a move, and look how close he gets to that hairpin as well. A slightly better exit for the Alfa Romeo, I think, as he gets up to speed that little bit quicker, but I'm sure that Ferrari will make short work of the driver sat in P4. Yeah, Paulie has to be suffering with damage. He looked quite sluggish through those S's while I was riding on board with him there. So Banter Brandon closing in. He's the car to watch in this 3-car battle for P3 at the moment. It'll likely be him and Speed battling it out in any lap now, which would be a great spectacle to see on the racetrack. But continuing on right on board with Banter Brandon, he sees that flashing red light. He knows how vulnerable that Alfa Romeo is. Not going to use any ERS. He's going to wait for a mistake perhaps, or wait for a much clearer opportunity. It's not the longest straight down towards turn 1 here at Suzuka, so you really do have to get a great exit out the final corner and really be close. But there's plenty of opportunities to make errors around this track, and Rick has dropped outside of that 2-second mark now, so dropping back, and he may even drop into the hands of Speed Alcoholic as those medium tyres start to wear. I'd love to be able to see the tyre wear of some of the car, well, of the tyre wear at least in a bit more detail. But you can tell that the mediums are approaching the sort of halfway to just over halfway. Well, excuse me. In the race, a great exit from Banter Brandon. Then it sees him a little bit closer to that Alfa Romeo, but Daphne Hilius is getting closer and closer as well. And the slipstream and the DRS are helping Daphne Hilius stay ahead of that Ferrari for the time being. Yeah, he does need to really attack, and he is. He's activating that ERS right now. He's going to be closing quite quickly, not using too much of it actually. He's going to really want to try through here. JD's left the session, but he's out of the race. He retired in the pit lane, and it looks like Banter Brandon had a little bit of a look. Oh, brakes very late, closes quite well under braking. Looking for a good exit on this occasion. not quite going to get it, I think, and that DRS is going to help him. He's got the aid of the ERS though, and he's in the slipstream. Does he make a move in towards turn one? He's going to have a look, and he is. He's going to sail past the Alfa Romeo, who puts up very little fight at all. I think he broke early to just let the Ferrari through. He knows he can't really fight him with that lack of ERS, and he's just going to happily sit in P5. P5 and P6 for Alfa Romeo would not be a bad result if the race were to finish right now. And Banter Brandon sets his sights on Speed Alcoholic. These two on the same compound of tyre from the beginning of the race, so they'll be on the same strategy. And if anything were to happen to Lifebout, these two would likely be the ones to challenge him for that race win. But as it seems, Lifebout is in a race of his own. He's 2.3 seconds up the road from Rick, and that's about 7.3 odd seconds up the road from Speed Alcoholic. Quite a calm race so far, but there's a few bits going on. Finley and LB changing places back here. It's just a ghost of the Williams car, unfortunately. I think LB lagged out or had to leave the session. We're making our way through, watching Speed Alcoholic. This is the battle on track at the minute. Jackalacco closing in on an ailing Paulie Orange. He'll want to try and get past, perhaps before, as soon as he can, or maybe stay with him and try and attack with his second stint when he switches over to the hard tyre. Brandon closing in. These two experienced racers, these guys know what they're doing. They know how to race at the front of the grid, and this could be quite the battle between the pair of them as they make their way through the S's for the 10th time this evening. Such an amazing track to drive, it really is. And a lot of the real life F1 drivers absolutely love this place as well. There's so many people that love this track. I would hate for this track to ever go anywhere again, because it's such a great circuit. Through the hairpin we go. Banter really keeping speed on this. He's going to be looking for any opportunity to try and get past. I do like the helmet you've got there, Banter Brandon. That's a really nice helmet design. Speed's got a nice orange one, or is that red? It's a red one. Red and orangey colours, some pink on there as well. Decent colours, but anyway, Banter Brandon, look, he's seeming to try and attack here, getting in that slipstream. This is what he needs to do. He needs to try and focus on that exit as he comes through that chicane. Yeah, Speed is for sure under pressure at the moment. He'll definitely be feeling it for now, as Banter Brandon really piling it on, really making the most of his position right now. Will he go on the attack as he makes his way through? No, he's going to sensibly sit behind. Not as close as he would like to be. He needs to probably be a tenth or two closer as they exit the chicane. A bit wide for Speed though. That could see Banter Brandon close in a little bit through sector one. But you could take a few different lines through there. You can be slightly tight or slightly wide through turn one. It depends how the setup is aligned, I suppose. It's quite the versatile corner as it comes to right, excuse me. But as it comes to making its way through, it's continuing to follow on with the Ferrari and Red Bull. The only battle on track so far. We'll keep an eye on Jackalacco though. He's closing in on the Paulie Orange at the minute. Paulie doing well to manage that damage, and I think the tyres, the medium tyres, will start to be wearing off now, and that's why Jackalacco is likely struggling that little bit more to stay with Paulie Orange. And attacking again, using a little bit of the RS, giving himself a little boost as they come through. We've got a yellow flag, that's Eat My Dust at the exit of Degner 2. It looks like he's back on the circuit and running once more. So no safety car or stoppages to the race for the time being. And into the pits comes Rick then. It's the first of the medium runners in the pits. He's decided to finally come in. He'll be the lead medium runner for sure. Darth Mahilius is going to stay out. What about his teammate? His teammate stays out too, likely coming in next lap. So pit stops are beginning. I think RJ looks like he's making his way in as well. He is. So Rick, the first to jump onto the hard tyres. RJ on hards as well? Yes, hards for the Mercedes. Meanwhile, Banter Brandon and Speed Alcoholic, these guys are inseparable right now. Banter will want to try and get past more and more and more, and he's got to be patient. He's got to wait for his moment, and it looks like that could come very soon. Speed, I think, is starting to struggle on these hard tyres. Well, Banter Brandon has really started to put on some pressure now. Coming through here, he's really getting into a groove now. And look how close he is on the exit of the hairpin now. 2/10. This could be a promising move if he manages to pull it off. Coming down towards Spoon Curve now. He'll want to get the best run possible through this double left-hander as they make their way around. He's really going to want to attack exiting this corner. He is getting on the ERS once again, but I think Speed Alcoholic has just got that little bit more straight line speed. He looks quite quick in a straight line, does that Red Bull. Perhaps some lower downforce setup for Speed. Having a look is Banter Brandon. He has a little look to the inside as they come to that chicane. No way through for the time being. He's going to try and find a way through though for sure. ERS is on. He's on the attack here. I think Speed knows what he's trying to do. And I think it's going to be a short run down, and it's not going to be a move, is it, unless he can outbrake Speed? No, sensibly he backs off a little and just sits behind. 3-second time penalty for Finley, first of the session, goes to the Alpine. Sat in P10 right now. Banter Brandon still trying to find a way through. He's got to find the places where Speed is lacking around the track and really capitalise on that and close in and maybe look for a gap. Cheering on Speed Ghost, yeah, of course, the other half of Red Bull not here tonight either. So cheering on his teammate Speed, doing a great job at the moment. Jack Acker's coming for his stop now, and Rick's ahead of Daphne Hilius by quite a way, so 7.8 seconds. So Rick sat nicely in P2 still, I think, for the time being. A lovely onboard shot there from on the Ferrari, on the nose, no less, making his way through there. Yeah, he must be. He looks so much quicker in a straight line, especially coming through here. You can see him pulling away just that little bit as they're making their way through. But slipstream keeping Banter Brandon in it, and it looks like Speed had a bit of a tight run through R130R. Not sure why that is, but is it going to be close enough on this occasion? He's not, and Speed takes a very wide line. He's trying to break the toe as much as he can as they run down to turn one. This could be a battle that goes on for a while, I think, but no solid overtaking action at the moment. But look how close Banter Brandon gets through that first corner. Speed Alcoholics are not too great through this first sector, so that's where Banter Brandon's got to try and make the time and try and get back at him. But it's the straight line speed that I think Banter is missing right now on this setup around this circuit, and that's where he's losing time to Speed, it seems. Still your only battle on the circuit. Drivers are coming in for pit stops. I think the only medium runner left is Finley in the Alpine. He's just behind Eat My Dust there. These guys are getting close together. Time penalty for the Alpine at the moment. And Eat My Dust is yet to come in. I think the tyres will be struggling for Finley, but there's another battle on the circuit. Other than this Red Bull Ferrari fight, which has been going on since the beginning of, well, not the beginning of the race, but the last 5 or 6 laps or so, and you can see the difference in lines there. Speed taking a very tight line through 130R, and Brandon taking a very wide line. That's allowing him to carry a bit more speed, I think, and making his way through. But Speed's just trying to break that toe, trying to keep that Ferrari at bay. He's going to have that AI car ahead of him. I'm not sure how well Ghost cars give off the slipstream at the minute, but the blue flags will come out, and I'm sure they'll make short work of that AI. But these two continuing to be inseparable. Glued to the back is that Ferrari. Glued to the back of that Red Bull. Yeah, he does need to try something, but Speed has got the advantage here, I think, right now. Well, yeah, in terms of the straight line speed, and he's really playing that. 5 tenths now. Be interesting to see when these guys come in. All the drivers behind them have come in already. Rick should be ahead of them as they exit the pits. Daft and Hideous could be if he manages to push on a bit further. I don't think so though. He's far enough behind the pair of them that I don't think either of them will be compromised. But yeah, you can tell the lines that they're taking. Speed's very much a tighter line through 130R, and Speed's into the pits then, and he's going to be followed in by Banter Brandon. So a race that was out on track will continue in the pit lane, and Red Bull pit crew out with the medium tyres for Banter Brandon. Lifebout's in as well for the mediums too. Rick making his way around the final couple of corners now. He should get out ahead. Paulie Orange into the pits as well, so the first hard runners coming in, and Rick is going to be out ahead, and these two could catch up, and Rick could be a part of this fight. Right now he's going to be on warm tyres, so he's going to have to get ahead, but they were racing as they entered the pit lane, and they're racing once more as they leave the pit lane. Who's going to get a better grip of these cold medium tyres? It's not going to be until they reach the deadness that the tyres will come up to temperature. So the driver that can handle that better will come out on top, and it seems Speed at the minute is dropping that gap to the Ferrari, but the pace in that Ferrari is still going to be there, especially for that first sector. Paulie out behind Jackalacco, so Jackalacco makes up a place after Paulie Orange's stop. I think Paulie had to change his wings, so he should pick up some more pace. Yeah, Speed's defence is nuts. He's doing everything he can to keep Banter at bay at the minute, and it seems to be working. This is the closest and only battle on the track at the moment. So we're going to continue to follow along as the tyres should be up to temperature. Let's have a look. We'll see who has and hasn't stopped. So the only driver not to stop is Eat My Dust. He's still on the hard tyres at the minute. Everybody else has made some kind of stop at the moment. Finley a couple of stops because he had an incident at the beginning, and he's now on the medium tyre till the end. No, he certainly doesn't. And you know, he's got this Ferrari all up in his mirrors and has had him there for a while. So Rick's trying to put on the pressure at the minute on Lifebout, but it'll be a losing battle at the minute. Lifebout at the moment is on track to win this race. Rick has the fastest lap, interestingly, 31.6, but Lifebout might try and beat that if he can. At the minute we've got a yellow flag. That's RJ round at the final corner. Not crashed, he's still in the session, but that's going to invite Eat My Dust a bit closer. But Eat My Dust is about to pull into the pit lane. Yes, he is. So RJ left to his own devices. Banter Brandon meanwhile has chipped away a little bit. He's come a little bit closer. It's about 9 tenths on the previous lap. That's 7 tenths, 6 tenths or so around the minute. This battle going on all race long, it seems, and no significant action has happened yet, but I'm sure there will be. Guys, unfortunately I missed my favourite track, Suzuka, but it's a pleasure to watch with great commentary. Thank you, Womax. It's nice to have you in the chat. 11 people watching thus far. If you haven't liked the stream already, then please do so. There's only 5 likes on it, so I know some of you are skimping out on liking the stream, so please do, as it really does help support the channel and all the stuff I do here for commentating on APPF1 and an ESRL in about just under an hour's time for their Tier 1 race. I think we're at Mexico, so if you like the Mexico City Grand Prix and watching the likes of NER Ayrton make his way around the track, then please do join me for that in a little while. Speed Alcoholic, 1 minute 31.4, the new fastest lap of the race, goes to the Red Bull, and he's used a lot of that battery to try and push. Is that a mistake from the Red Bull, or is that exactly what he needed to do, as he's dropped Banter Brandon now? Oh, Lifebout to the spin! I've missed that completely. Rick is in the lead of this race, and Lifebout is now going to be in the grasp of Speed Alcoholic. I can't believe I missed that on the lap, but Lifebout has dropped it on this second stint here. That's put Rick in the lead of the race, and that has certainly turned the tables for this Grand Prix. And with just about 9 or 10 laps to go in this race, Rick is looking in a good spot to win if Lifebout doesn't manage to catch up. And not far down the road is Speed Alcoholic. He'll be seeing that as well. I think maybe he pushed that pushed on that last lap to capitalise on Lifebout's spin. Banter Brandon's been pushing. This lap he's caught back up to that Red Bull, so it's only 5/10. This is becoming interesting, and look, Speed is closing in on Lifebout. Does Lifebout have damage on that Haas? It doesn't look like there's damage, but it might not be visible damage to the car. Yeah, Ghost put a curse on him. The commentator's curse works even when you're not commentating, it seems. But this two-car battle for P3 on the podium is now going to turn into a three-car battle for two places on the podium. And Banter Brandon and Lifebout and Speed will be sure to fight hard. And Speed's going to want to try and catch that Haas if he can. Lifebout is going to want to try and catch back up to Rick if he can. Rick is going to want to maintain that gap. That's what he's going to do now. He's going to enter gap maintenance mode and really try. Meanwhile, Paulie Orange, that damage seems to have been repaired on the Alfa Romeo, and he's putting the McLaren under pressure as they make their way into Sector 1. And look, Speed has caught Lifebout. So now it's a three-car fight for P2 and 3. So two places on the podium up for grabs and three drivers fighting for them. This has just turned into quite the interesting dying stages of this Tier 1 race. Watching Paulie Orange now chase after the McLaren of Jackalacco coming through the two Degners at the minute. The battle at the front seems a little bit calm, but no moves made by the Alfa Romeo. Perhaps a move into the hairpin at the time being. No move. Meanwhile, Banter Brandon getting much closer to that Red Bull. Maybe an attack is looming in the distance as they make their way through, but Speed's going to have the tow and the DRS from the Haas in front, but he's not got a lot of VRS left to use. Banter Brandon is closing in. Surely a move is on the cards here, perhaps, as they come towards the bus stop chicane, that final chicane on the circuit. Speed trying to break the tow and keep Banter Brandon at bay. Brandon looking into the inside just a little bit, looking for a way through. Meanwhile, I think Lifebout must have some kind of damage because Rick is pushing and is opening up that gap as well. So he's not just managing it, but he's pushing ahead. Here comes Banter Brandon. He's still very close. I can tell he wants to make that move, but he's being as patient as he can. Oh, and that's a mistake from the Ferrari. Luckily not a race-ending one. Meanwhile, Paulie Orange gets past Jackalacco. Fairly box standard move for the Alfa Romeo, and that puts him up into P6. So P5 and 6 for the Alfa Romeo team. David Hillius, I must say, has had a very quiet race, but a very respectable one in P5. So a good job from the Alfa Romeo. Speed about to Brandon, these gaps coming down now. The race is on between these three. And look at this, Lifebout, a slightly poorer exit or poorer run through the hairpin at the minute. That's a yellow flag. That's RJ round at turn 1. No safety car it seems at the moment. But it's all eyes on Lifebout. Lifebout goes very deep into Spoon. Speed's going to have a look to the inside. Doesn't manage to pull alongside the Haas, but that's going to invite Brandon now to get even closer as they come through to 130R. The Ferrari is looming in the distance, but he doesn't get close enough to make a move. Perhaps into the chicane for the Ferrari. This move comes. Oh, that's a spin. That's David Hillius. I was saying how well he's gone, and that's a safety car. That's going to put a dampener on this, and Rick is going to be fuming. Rick has just passed the safety car line as well, but he's going to drop way down the order. Rick is not going to be happy with that safety car. David Hillius, he's still in the race, no wing, but he's dropped out of P5 now. Let's invite his teammate to take that position. Wow, I think I might have to go get some more water for this, but Speed and Banter Brandon still behind one another. Lifebout did have damage, so he's going to drop behind the Ferrari and the Red Bull. So that was what happened to Lifebout. Then he had a spin and got some damage for good measure as well. So Speed is going to be provisionally your leader, as Rick will want to come in surely. He can't stay on those hard tyres. But he can, but he won't want to. I know, it really was getting juicy. It was just getting to the point where that battle was becoming a lot more climactic, and then the safety car came out like clockwork. Shame it wasn't a... it should have been a virtual, I think, in all honesty. I don't think that warranted a full course caution, but I'm going to go top up on my water, and we're going to let the safety car do its thing. didn't deserve that, and he's going to stay out. Rick is going to stay out. He's going to take track position over a fresh set of tyres. I think he should have tried to stay out, tried to pit maybe, but he would have dropped behind his teammate possibly if he did that. But yes, I'm now back, and we're waiting for the safety car to close in. Finley, RJ and Eat My Dust will be happy the safety car's out. They'll be able to get themselves back in the contention for some better results. We'll have a look at penalties while we're here. 3 seconds from RJ and Finley. That is the only penalties on track right now. Yeah, Rick didn't deserve that at all. It's poor luck from the McLaren. He's been driving very consistently today, and would be on track for my driver of the day at least. He's one of the contenders for sure. Banter Brandon, another one as well. He's driven exceptionally well. He's kept out of trouble. He's kept patient. Speed as well. Put on an incredible defence, and that could see him win this race at the moment. Lifebound, interestingly, on the medium, same as Jackalacco. So opting for the medium compound tyre is the Haas and the McLaren. So not confident the softs will make it to the end. I think they shall, but we'll see if it pays dividends. As I think we're going to be one more lap under safety car. We'll see. It should come in as we enter sector 3. Always found it tricky to predict where it's going to come in. We're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to have about 4 or 5 laps of racing once the safety car does come in. Yeah, we're going to go around one more time, it seems, as Eat My Dust is still very far behind at the moment. Unfortunately, the ghost of Williams is lapped, so he is out of this race more or less. Still a shame you can't unlap yourself. I think it really should be something you can do. Hopefully that'll be a feature in next year's F1 game, but knowing Codemasters, probably not. There we go, 9 watching, 8 likes. That one person, you know who you are if you've not liked the stream already. But those are some better numbers on stream. Likeage, if that's even a word, I don't know. Stream support, whatever you want to call it. I like likeage. It's my word now, I've coined it. Got to put it in the dictionary. But a good recovery drive after an unfortunate qualifying for Banter Brandon. Sees himself up on the podium for the moment, and Lifebound could challenge for that. But I think he might rue the day he decided to go on mediums for these last few laps of this race. But you never know. Anything can happen, and I think we're going to go racing this lap. So it'll be lap 24 that starts us off, so 24, 5, 6, 7, so it'll be 4 laps of racing as we go through, as Eat My Dust is making his way through toward Degnan 1 and 2, and he'll surely catch up as they get toward the exit of Spoon Curve, or maybe the entrance of the Spoon Curve. No longer Pete's hour, just Latifi, so I could expect it to crash and bring out another safety car then. Or bring out a safety car that brings in some controversy. Or maybe it's going to crash and it's somehow going to take out Speed, Banter and Lifebound for Rick, and then there won't be a safety car, and then Rick will just sail away. Safety car in this lap then, so Rick is going to get us started off again, and he's going to slow right down, I think, back off and let the safety car go. He'll have, from the minute it enters the pit lane to the line to get this race started, Bryce Latifi is about to turn around the other way and cause a massacre, or he'll win the race. Well, to win the race he'll have to unlap himself, or he'll have to like somehow go backwards, take out all the drivers, but Rick has gone anyway and has caught Speed Alcoholic napping a little bit, and he'll have to close in, but I'm sure he will quickly on those fresh soft tyres as we get back to racing here at Suzuka. And it's a sprint to the finish, more or less. And here comes Banter Brandon. He has a look, and that was very close between the two of them. How that didn't end in contact, I don't know. And now Lifeboat is glued to the back of that Ferrari, and he's all up in the diffuser at the minute. But Banter Brandon has seen him off for the time being. Paulie Orange is going to be looking to get past that Haas on the slower compounder tyre at the moment, and Speed Alcoholic already catching up to Rick at the front at the minute. The McLaren's going to have to put on quite the defence to keep this Red Bull behind. F for Rick indeed, yeah. He's already gone past the pit lane. Yeah, when it came out, he had no choice but to stay out, unfortunately. But Speed is all over the back, and he's already making a move on this McLaren. Rick driving in defensively. That is getting to the limits of what you're allowed to do, forcing the Speed onto the grass for the moment. Rick is going to make that McLaren as wide as he can. Unfortunately, he's not Fernando Alonso, though, and probably won't keep these guys behind him for too much longer. But he'll certainly try as they come down to 130R now. Speed is going to have, ironically, a lot of speed coming through here and a lot more grip. So it's the outside defensive, goes to McLaren. Round the outside, there goes Speed, the South African. McLaren going to see him off for the time being. This is going to invite the Ferrari now around the inside of Speed Alcoholic. They're going to go wheel to wheel. Finally, these two battling wheel to wheel as they go. It's going to be free ride as they go into turn one. It is very close. Speed has got the way past the McLaren. The Ferrari boxed in, nowhere to go. Still side by side. This McLaren really holding off these two at the minute. This is wheel to wheel stuff. There's 5 cars battling for the lead. 1 car slowing all the rest of them down. It's all aboard the Rick train as we make our way through the S's for the third and for the almost the penultimate time here as Speed Alcoholic leads them up the hill, following Rick on these hard tyres at the minute, continuing to defend this Ferrari. These two going wheel to wheel for what was the first time. We spent so many laps following them as they were glued together, and now finally it's paying off in these dying stages of the race. Speed's going to try again and get that better exit on the McLaren. Gets a better exit than the Ferrari, it seems, at the moment, and drops him a little. Speed's going to try and close in up towards Spoon Curve. Rick goes defensive again, parks the car in the middle of the circuit. If he can keep these drivers behind him, it would have been a Herculean effort. Jacaraco and After Hilius down the order. Jacaraco's had a spin, it seems, at the front. At the back even. Meanwhile, Banter Brandon again on the challenge as we go through 130R. Speed Alcoholic looking to the outside once more. Rick's going to go defensive again. Speed's got a little bit more on him this time. Has the inside for the second part of the corner. But Rick again holding on. Free wide as they exit the chicane at the moment. And now Speed is going to look to go up the inside as they go towards turn 1. There's so many cars in this race at the moment for the fight. There's about 4 cars heading 2 by 2 into the first couple of corners. And this is incredible racing from a lot of them. Oh, and that Speed round is being clipped by the McLaren. Paulie Orange is out of this race as well. There's been a huge crash at turn 1. That's Speed and Paulie out of contention for the lead of this race, battling together. I was just commenting on how well they were doing to not hit each other, but there it goes down. That's 2 drivers out. And Rick still leads them around. Banter Brandon has got the McLaren in his way for the race lead. Lifeboat finds himself on the podium. RJ and Finley are in this as well, but Eat My Dust could find himself happily in P4, which would be a great result for the AlphaTauri. Paulie Orange and Speed are not going to be too happy, and I think the stewards are going to have something to ponder tonight. Paulie Orange, I think, unfortunately, was just a passenger in that whole event, and he had nowhere else to go and crashed into Speed Alcoholic. Speed lucky to still be in. I don't know if he's got any damage on that Red Bull. Doesn't look like it from the outside, but it's never easy to tell. It's not motor racing, this is terrorism. Yeah, that was a huge crash. I wish I had a better view, but Banter Brandon goes well off the track. Round 130R, trying to get past Rick. I think he might have to give that place back, but the McLaren still putting on its Herculean effort. Rick going once again through here. Banter Brandon now, and Lifeboat challenging Rick at the front. It's the final lap of this race. Rick has got 1 lap to keep these drivers behind him, and he's been doing an incredible job thus far. It's the McLaren and the Haas, Ferrari and the Haas going wheel to wheel just behind the McLaren, and Rick is doing an incredible job to keep those drivers behind him. Side by side, they continue to go. Haas and Ferrari through the S section. This is incredible racing from the pair. Look how close together they are as they come through Dunlop now, and no contact made. This is amazing stuff. The very limits of the track being tested by the Ferrari as he goes around the outside before the Degners. Great racing between these two. That's just going to help Rick's campaign. Rick's only got a few more corners to navigate in order to win this race. This is absolutely phenomenal racing at the moment. Yeah, the two championship rivals as well. This is championship stuff between these two. 9 points separate the pair of them, and they're going to continue to fight in this championship with one another. Life Battle rue the day he had that crash, because he was looking very comfortable for a win here at Suzuka, but it looks like it might go the way of his countryman as long as he can navigate these final few corners. Life Battle will have to look and try and find a way through in these last few corners. He's closing and closing on that Ferrari. He's all over the back as they go to 130R. There's contact made between the two of them. The Ferrari goes defensive, pushes his rival off the circuit, in fact, and Lifebound forced to go deep into the corner, and that's going to be bad to Brandon through, but Rick, through thick and thin, sees off the challenge and wins this Japanese Grand Prix. Bad to Brandon and Lifebound rounding off the podium. Finley comes home in P3, and is that going to be enough to P4, sorry, and RJ suffers under penalties, and Finley gets P4 after starting at the back. A great comeback for him. Wow. Oh, I might have a sore throat here, Sorrow. Please don't make me shout too much. Wow, what an incredible race. Oh, how, Rick, how? I don't know. But perhaps that was Fernando Alonso in the car. But Rick finishes on the top step. He must be absolutely elated with that result after that safety car. I'm not exactly sure what happened in that incident. I'll try and go back and view it for you before I close off the stream. But wow, what an incredible race. Oh, I need a moment. Wow, what a phenomenal performance from Tier 1 this evening, even with the low numbers on the grid. Thank you, Womax, thank you. Rick is your race winner here today. Saw off the challenge on old hard tyres, no less, against soft compound runners, with Banter Brandon and Lifebout flanking the Dutchman on the podium. Finley coming home P4 of speed, rounding off the P5. Eatman does P6, Nahilia 7, Jacko 8, 9 RJ, LB rounding off the top 10, with Paulie Orange, ET8 Chris and JD not finishing the race, but I think Paulie, yes, he will be classified. Whew. Wow. What an incredible result. Let's quickly go back for you guys before I wrap up. I think this is going to take some beating. Yeah, I think so. There might be some good clips there as well to share around on the socials. That'll definitely get some attention for APPF1. Thank you, Finley. I appreciate the support. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and liked as well. Why is my thingy playing slowly? Here we go. Right, let's have a look back. Unfortunately, you can't see me looking back for this incident, but I will try and comment on it as best as I can as we make our way through. We had a wide shot, so have a little look. So here they go. Is this the incident? I think it is. Here we go. No, not quite. Next lap. So much happened in such a short space of time, but I think this is the one. I think Rick might have played a major part in that incident as well. He was squeezing Rick there, it seems, as they go down towards turn 1. Then the 4 of them go 2 by 2. If I slow this down, I might be able to catch exactly what happened. Let's slow it down. Let's move. Let's play. What's that doing? I don't know. Annotations go away. It looks like it's not the best view. We'll have to wait for the steward's report, I think. But either Rick squeezes Speed so much that he clips him as they come onto the exit, or Speed gets a little bit too much on the curb, causing him to spin, and then Paulie Orange has nowhere to go and goes straight into the side of a Red Bull who he must have thought would ghost. And Lifeboat lucky to miss that spinning Red Bull as they go through. But that's what I can glean from the incident on the camera angle. If anyone's got any more better reviews of that incident, then I'd love to hear them in that time. But yes, well done, Rick. Thank you, Lifebout. I do try my best on these commentary streams. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. I'm going to save my voice. Join me in about 25 minutes' time for some action in the Elite Series Racing League, or ESRL. Elite Settings Racing League, I think it is. Maybe I've got that wrong or whatever. But an incredible race, an incredible championship battle on our hands here in APPF1 Tier 1. And I'm so glad that I was able to bring it to you this evening as we went around Suzuka. I'm going to go rest up now. Join me in a little bit for some more racing action over on ESRL. I have been Sumo, your commentator this evening. And I hopefully will see you again same time for some more Tier 1. Goodbye for now, guys.